G'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. Alright, today we're out in the garden. We're going to go through, do a garden tour. We're getting a bit later in the season. This would be heading towards the end of summer normally, but we haven't had much of a summer. And things are starting to get a little bit tired out there. This is the problem with the fact that this is a first year garden in this location for me. And I haven't had much opportunity to gather organic matter. So the soil's getting really tired really quickly. As your garden progresses in a few years' time, it's going to be a lot better. But because it's first year, you know, everything's starting to suck the nutrients up out of the ground, and I haven't got enough organic matter back in the ground yet, which will happen over time. All right, let's take a walk and have a look. As per usual, we'll start with the long bed. Well, actually, let's start over here. This is a compost tumbler. I've got a video coming out on this one. Basically every day when I come out the garden, we do that. Give it a couple of turns. You know, I do that a couple of times a day when I'm out in the garden, and that's my compost tumbled. All right, so off to the garden. All right, these little fellas on the end here, you can see this one's not really doing much. Being right next to the concrete like it is, it gets a bit sunburnt. I may try and transplant it and see what happens. The second one in, doing a lot better. You know, it's got some good chilies on it. It's not doing as well as the stuff over here. You know, this thing's 3 times higher, and it's got a lot more chilies on it because it's in a bit more of a protected location. So compare that to that. So obviously the protection helps, so I might transplant the little one and see how we go. As you can see, that Apollo is just loaded. You know, picking the odd one off that. It is an indeterminate, so it's just an odd sort of tomato that comes off that one. Over the back there, we have our cucumbers. You can see there. There's a couple there. Another one tucked in under there. Over this side, more. You know, lots of cucumbers forming up. And here's a tip for you: if you're growing Parisian pickling cucumbers, don't eat them without pickling them. They are pretty bitter in the skin. Yeah, they certainly need the pickling to make them palatable. Reforme Abruzzi. They are a weird looking tomato. Have a look at them. That one's got a few marks on it where it was rubbing against the tie. But yeah, there's sort of a squat thing. They are pretty big. So that one looks like it's starting to head towards ripe. We've got a few in there, so it's coming along. The little fella next to it, there's a couple in there, so yep, happy with him. Our inner planted jalapenos doing great, loaded up. All right. Our Gross Lizzie tomato, absolutely chockers with fruit in there. This is why I don't prune my indeterminates. You know, they are loaded up with fruit. And at the end of the day, if they don't ripen up, then what I'll do is I'll make a green tomato pickle out of them. You know, and I'm happy to do that. All right, zucchinis. These things are really starting to play out. Not getting a lot of fruit off them at the moment, and this is what I was saying about that, the fact that it's a first year garden and there's not a lot of organic matter in the soil. So yeah, not really getting a lot of fruit out of them, so it is what it is. Okay, Rose de Marmon. Now this thing's setting fruit heavier than it's setting greenery. It's setting a massive amount of fruit. I've actually had to use belt and suspenders to hold the fruit up. You can see here I've got a piece of the waistband off the pantyhose that I use. That's looped underneath the fruit bunch, holding it over the top of the stake, as well as the normal ties that I use. You know, there's just so much fruit on there, I just couldn't keep it up. That one's about to ripen, so that'll come off and take some weight off, but you can see there's an awful lot of fruit still there. So, doing awesome. Okay, the Italian pear. We have fruit hidden in here. There's one. These haven't set super heavy yet. This one on the end here has. And you can see, you know, they're a nice big tomato. Looking great. So hopefully the rest of them will catch up with that one. My little eggplant here. You can see some fruit on that one. I'm probably pulling one small eggplant a week off this. So, and it looks like it's about to kick in a gear. So really happy with him. This little capsicum or pepper. We're at flowers, but it's not really putting any fruit on yet. Golden nuggets. We have more fruit in there. Doing great. Had a couple of female flowers that are pollinated today, so again, they're doing fantastic. Amish paste, they are starting to struggle. They are starting to struggle with this lack of nutrients. You know, I can feed them as much as I want, but it's not going to change the fact the nutrients aren't in the ground. But they are putting on some big fruit, and we're starting to get ripe fruit on it. So we'll leave them go, see how they play out. Okay, grandma pumpkins. Not a lot of success with them taking so far. I've only had a couple of successful pollinations, but have a look in there. Isn't that a little beauty? There's another one tucked in there that's pollinated, and hopefully that one will take off. Okay, the cucamelon. Took a big harvest off this the other week and ate them. You know, I don't think I'm ever going to get enough to pickle, but they're a great garden snack. Okay, our butternut pumpkin. You can see we've got a couple little ones in here. These were a purchased cheap pack. I don't think I'm going to get too much size out of them, but I'm getting a few fruit out of them, so I'm pretty happy with them. Alright, little kale and paprika bed. You can see the paprikas doing great. Lots of little peppers on them. Hopefully they start putting on a bit more size, because paprika pepper should be a little bit bigger than that. There's some more in there. I'm leaving the sunflower in here for now because it's bringing pollinators into the garden. The kale is starting to get hit pretty bad by aphid or greenfly. You can see in there. So that's getting a top down water to wash them off, but not really getting rid of them too well. The kale's been great, been harvesting plenty to eat still, and this I've been saving a heap to dry, running it through the dehydrator. I've got 1.5 pints of dehydrated kale, and like when I'm using it in a soup or stew, I'm only going to use a couple tablespoons, so that's a massive amount. But yeah, that's a cool season crop that's just hung in there. Alright, across we come to the Jackby little pumpkins, which are starting to give us some male flowers. There's a female just there. So hopefully we'll be fertilising and fruiting soon. These are the cylindrica beetroot. See down there, we're starting to get some bulb formation. Nothing huge yet, but they're happening. These little market cucumbers are starting to take off, heading up high, looking great. Got flowers on them, so hopefully we'll start getting fruit soon. The beetroot down here, or beets for the Americans, got a couple little decent roots forming just in there, so hopefully we will be able to take some early picking off it soon. But yeah, that's doing great as well. Pepper bed, I've taken one sunflower out of the front, and I'm going to take this other one because I've got nothing over here that I really need the bees to come for, and you can see there's not a lot of flower left on it. So all I'm going to do is just cut it off. And that's going to let some more sunlight through and hopefully bring these peppers along. And there's flowers forming there, but we're not at the fruit stage. Now that's for no dig. I just cut off the sunflower. I'm just going to leave the root there, and that's going to put some organic matter in the soil, in the fact the roots stay there and rot away. These really need to be picked off and dried. You can see they're starting to dry off now. Our overplanted corn bed, still doing great. You know, it's probably about 4 foot tall now. You can see the male part of the flowers coming through. No ears as of yet, but we'll keep waiting and see what happens. But yeah, it's certainly growing up, growing wild. Potatoes, you know, was our regrowth, our second lot of potatoes come along, and it looks like I've got some spider mite in there, so that's going to need a spray of some organic oil. Supermarket ones still haven't made a start on the second plant. Kifflers are going great, that needs some soil in it. These kifflers are slowly coming up, so they'll be ready for some soil soon. These kifflers doing great. Those kifflers, that one's starting to rot out. That one's starting to shoot, nothing, shoot. And supermarkets, nothing yet. The supermarket ones are very slow to start taking off. Bean beds, the Violet Queen. I'm leaving a couple pods in here, trying to keep them up off the ground, and they are heading towards maturity. They're going to be my seed for next year. Took a big pick off this yesterday. There's still a fair few more. Again, the beans I'm dehydrating, I've probably got half a pint of dehydrated beans, plus the ones I eat, plus some frozen, so doing well. Lazy housewife, I've taken my seed ones out. We've got another flush of flowers coming on, but we're losing a lot of plants. These might, once this next flush of flowers finishes, we might be heading to pull them out and maybe drop some peas in early. and put them up the climbing frame. Hello. Okay, beans I planted out the other week. You can see they've already popped up out of the ground. A couple of them have lost the ends on them. So I'm going to replace those. And the others are taking off. They are a Harcourt Bean, which is a drying bean. Peanuts coming along. They're not setting any records, but with this cooler, wet summer we've been having, I'm happy that they're out of the ground. Whether they're going to set any peanuts or not, that's another question. Alright, the okra coming along great. We're about to get some flowers, so we shall be setting pods on at least that one soon. The other ones are coming along awesomely. This one's a little slow. That was a reseed. Not sure whether that one's going to take, but this one, I got too many up, so I may pull one out of here and pop it over in there. Okay, the sweet potato. That has now rooted into this bucket. So I dug those up the other day, just enough to check, and we are now rooted in there. So all I'm going to do is just separate out from the parent plant. Okay, and they are now an independent plant. We've got some more vining going on, so I'll give it a little bit longer and I will replant those vines into another pot. This one here is now on its own and can do its own thing. If it does pop out another set of vines, we may go again with that one. This is a bit of play, a bit of experimentation. Just going to see what happens. Pimply squash bed, as you can see, it's starting to take off again. I pruned it out where I'd harvested. We still have this one yet to harvest, and that's getting at harvestable stage. So I'll take that out, prune off the rest of that vine, which as you can see is covered in powdery mildew. So I'll prune off the rest of that vine and let it shoot out again. San Marzanos continually give me plenty. I've got over a gallon off them so far, so pretty happy, and they are still loaded with fruit. So every couple of days come out, pull the fruit out of them and add them to the freezer bag. The blue ballets, I don't think these ones are gonna do too much more. This one where I cut the big one off starting to shoot. These other little ones, yeah, they haven't really moved, and as you can see, that's starting to dry off. And again, drying off. So they may well be harvested and see whether the plants kick on. Our pepper plants in here. Now I don't know what peppers they are because it was a 7-color mix. That is a bell pepper of some kind, but I'm going to have to wait for it to ripen to actually know what color it is. So I won't be harvesting them green. I will wait until they ripen up so I know what pepper it actually is. But that one's got 3 good peppers on it, and it's looking like it needs a steak. This one over here is obviously a banana pepper of some sort. You can see, lovely big banana pepper. And again, I'm gonna have to wait for it to ripen up to find out what it is. Baby littles, again, I've cleaned them up, hoping for reshoots, which I'm getting. I've still got a couple more pumpkins down on there, so hopefully they'll drop a few more. San Marzano's in here again, kicking goals. You know, plenty of fruit coming off them. And like I said, I just freeze them so I can process them together. This little pepper here, again, oh, there we go. There is a fruit on it. And that looks like it's gonna be a bell pepper of some kind. So we will see what it brings us. This little fella around here, not really moving. That one there, I just took out one of the sunflowers next to it. So it's getting a bit more light. We'll see what happens. See if it kicks off or not. Guys, every time I come in the back, they come running. Bring them out some water. They can have the sunflower plant to chew through. You can see the size of them. They are getting huge. They are almost as big as the mamas. We're starting to get some defining features to them. Hopefully the guys will start getting some sickle feathers soon so we can tell who's male, who's female. But as you can see, they're sitting there picking through that sunflower. These sunflowers aren't producing seeds, and the girls don't really like sunflower seeds anyway. But they're quite happy to chew the plant apart, take the greenery off, so they get to knock that down. We're going through a fair bit of water because they're putting so much height on. You know, they're really growing in size, so they're chewing up a fair bit of water. I'm filling both these waterers once a day just to keep them going, but I am happy to do it. That keeps them happy. Dustin. Alright, and also they're growing. So they get their grain and their feed. And lastly, this is my little project from last night. I made up an S-hook. So there we go. The chickens have a feeder hanging in their coop. Okay, thank you very much everyone for watching, and bye for now.